Hi, this is Mick Burgess. I'm now joined backstage at the O2 Academy in Newcastle with Robbie Crane from Black Star Riders. Robbie, great to see you again as always.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's good to see you again.
You're well into your current UK tour at the moment. How have the shows been going so far?
Amazing. You know, it's neat to see everyone coming out. We haven't been out in a while, and we'll have some lineup changes and a new record, and the energy that we've captured in the studio with our new producer and with the new guys in the band. It seems to be coming off live on stage, and people seem to be really receptive. So it's awesome to see. Yeah.
So 4 albums under your belt now.
Yep.
It's that time-old problem of picking a set list. What do you drop? What do you include?
Yeah.
So is it getting harder and harder with each album?
Ricky and I met in Los Angeles a while back to talk about the set, and we went through all the songs. There's always that tug and pull of, which records do we lean on the most? What songs are the best? We got to play the singles. Do we do a Lizzie song? Where does all that fit into what we're doing? And we actually found ourselves saying, okay, well, these are the staples for each record. And having 4 records now, you put yourself in a position. If you do 4 on 4, you're at 16 songs already, and you're looking anywhere between 16 and 20 songs for a set. It leaves very little room for a filler and for anything else. So as most people know, because they've seen the tour already, we opted not to do Lizzie songs on this tour. And for no disrespect to Scott was actually the one who suggested we didn't. But we've got 4 records to stand on, and they're solid, and we're very proud of what we have. And Black Star Riders is not Thin Lizzy. Although it was born from it, it is moved on from it, I believe. And
it's sort of a gradual evolution from Thin Lizzy. So
for sure.
Album 4, it's Black Star Riders purely on your own 2 feet.
Absolutely.
So yeah. But you've always got that option in the future if you want to chuck in another song. So
sure.
It's a nice problem to have, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is a blessing for us, and we feel really fortunate to have that access to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're out of sight and you're out of sound.
Last year when we saw you in Sheffield, it was a bit of mixed feelings, really, because it was Damon's last show.
Yeah, that's right.
Was his decision to go at that point? Was it quite a shock when he first mentioned it? Did you detect that there was something up before he mentioned it?
No. Damon, that was 2 years in the making. The truth be told, Damon had come to us a couple of years prior to, and we knew it. I mean, Damon's a lead singer. Damon's a front man for his own band. He earned that in his band, Brother Kane, and we knew that. And when I joined the band, we would hang out and talk music, and I always encouraged him to follow his solo dreams, because he never really went solo. I mean, he had Brother Kane, which is was his band, but he was never Damon Johnson. And so I would always encourage him to record and build on his brand, and to build a discography under his solo brand, so that when he went out, he was people invested in something that he believed in. I mean, I know he always believed in himself, but it's the perception, isn't it? And so we knew it was coming, and he was a brother the whole way, and he still is one of our family members and our brother, and we love Damon. But we were prepared for it, and he was kind enough to give us that warning, and it put us in a position to where we could kind of really take our time looking, but we didn't. We waited, and we had the odd jam with a few musician friends of ours that we weren't sure if we'd be right or wrong, but we had a jam with them anyways, and it was great to see. But once Christian Martucci sent us the video, it was like, that's the guy. It was the chemistry, you could just feel it.
Because Damon was one of the main songwriters. Were you sort of worried at first? You thinking, well, what's going to happen with the songwriting, or were you confident that you could all pull together and move on?
Well, I mean, Scott, Ricky and Damon, obviously had a hand in the first 3 records. Absolutely. Scott has always had a major hand in it, and that's why we sound like Lizzie's, because people will say all the time, oh, it's great, it's a little Lizzie-esque. It's like, well, Scott Gorham co-wrote most of those songs, and he has a style, and that's good on us, because that's just how it's going to sound. And so, no, I don't think that was ever an issue. Ricky's a strong songwriter, and I think that this record, more than any, proves that and shows that. He has no qualms or problems with writing songs by himself or accepting ideas from anybody. And that's the beauty in this band, is that even since I joined the band, I mean, Ricky's been like, do you have any ideas? Send them to me, send them to me, send them to me. And so for the first record that I was involved in, which was Killer Instinct, I opted not to interject too much of my own thing, because I was still, a bit of a wallflower and trying to gather how this thing everything operated and how the songwriting went. And so for the second record that I was involved in, which was Heavy Fire, I did send in some ideas, and one of them became Cold War Love, or parts of Cold War Love, and the other one became parts to Dancing with the Wrong Girl. And so just like with this situation, Christian and Ricky immediately, we'd never met Christian. I'd met him once before through a friend, but none of us really knew him. And we would talk to him on the phone or whatever, and we just decided he was going to be the guy. Something told us he was the guy. And
even before you'd actually met him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so we had sent songs back and forth. Ricky and him had sent song ideas back and forth, and Ricky had our ideas, mine and Scott's, and put them into form. And Christian demoed on his own. He was out with Ozzy with Stone Sour, demoed a bunch of the songs and sent them back to us, and it was like, wow, this is great. Like, it's already taking shape, and we quite literally were 70% of the way through the record prepared before we even met Christian. And so when we got into the rehearsal studio for pre-production for the record in January of 19, that was when we met him, and got into a room, and the five of us, and it was quite odd, to be honest with you, that from the second we sat down with him, within the first hour, we were already through 3 songs, and the chemistry was immediate. And I said this in other interviews, it was a little shocking to see that. I mean, although we had booked, a week or 2 or whatever for pre-production, within 5 days we were done. We were
really,
we were on to just having a jam and having a laugh. And the record recording process, and it's nothing to say about the other way that we've done the other records. It was effortless. It almost flew by us so quickly. Jay did a great job. Jay Rustin, our producer, did an amazing job of just putting us in position just to be creative, and he captured such great moments with us. We cut most of it live, and 1 or 2 takes of the song, and that was it. And it's just a really great experience. Seeing Scott really get involved in this record as well, it was amazing just to see how Christian fit right in with this band. Yeah. So with regard to the songwriting and Damon's departure, I don't think there was ever a worry. I think we were always just like, we've had to deal with this kind of thing in the past with other situations that we've all been in, and it was just, it's
a positive thing. So it's an opportunity rather than.
You can look at it, any number of ways. You can look at it like, oh, we're getting screwed, or this sucks, or we can look at it like, we love you, we're moving on. And Damon did it the right way, and he put us in a position that we were able to move on, and everything was great.
Well, they said you were no good for me, that you would bring me down to your level. You said you would drag me through the mud and tarnish my name forever.
Another State of Grace is the new album. Came out a few weeks ago. It's been getting great reviews. You must be chuffed a bit to read those.
Yeah, I think that we, as silly as it sounds, when you release a record or you write a record and then you record it, you sit on it for a couple of months because the label has to do all their business and whatnot and get the whole machine going. And so we've kind of been privy to it for a while. And we have so many conversations back and forth. I can't wait for the people to hear what we hear. And so we had played it for a few people, and we always got really positive things about it. And we just could feel the energy in the record, and we couldn't wait for it to come out. And so when it did come out and everyone got to hear it, we were very thankful to hear that people saw what we saw on the record. Yeah.
So you've done the last 3 records now out of the 4. So how do you see this as a sort of step on from your last couple of records?
Yeah, again, just a different process for us. I think with Nick, we would do the drums and the guitars by themselves. Damon and Jimmy would record the drums and guitar, and Scott and I wouldn't be a part of any of that until the end. And then they would record Scott's guitar parts, and I would record the bass last. And it was a great experience, and the records are awesome, and we love what Nick did with us, and we're very proud of what we did with Nick. But this process was very different. This process was the 5 of us got into a room and had a jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what came from that jam that was good, we kept, and what wasn't, we repaired and moved on to and we did a song a day, front to back, drums, bass, guitar, all the guitars, all the vocals, and then we moved on to the next day, a new song. So we're all 100% invested in that particular song, and I think it comes off on the record, the energy of the song, where we were all at that moment, and it's quite literally a snapshot of what we were going through that day and how it went down, and I think that is amazing, and we absolutely want to do another record with Jay Rustin because he was awesome to work with. Yeah,
and he's brought some new elements in as well, the female backing vocals.
Yeah, well, we had that on Heavy Fire as well, and actually the same Pearl the Day sang on that record as well, but that was a Jay thing. And I mean,
that works really well as well. The climax of that song. It's
Pearl. She was on What Will It Take on this record, and that song was so cool. A classic Ricky Warwick moment with regard to songwriting. We're at the end of pre-production, and he's like, he's strumming his acoustic guitar, and I can see it right now in my eyes. And he's like, "Hey, hang on, guys, I think I've got an idea that I've been working on." And he just played us the structure of the song, and we were like listening to him, and we all just looked at each other, and quite literally what's on that record and what we recorded live is exactly pretty much what we just kicked into, because we all just were so connected at that moment in pre-production. We all just started playing the song, and it was really nice to see the connection that we had. And again, we just cut that song is actually the first take for Chad and I. We went through it one time in the recording studio, and that was what Jay kept as the first take of that song.
There's a nice bit of a nice funk element in our
yeah. Soldier in the Ghetto.
Really funk groove to that.
Yeah, we had oh God, it's so terrible, I can't remember his name. The keyboard player, he's amazing. He came in through Jay and just laid down some funky clav and
clavinet,
it was so cool. And Ricky has a lot of that Motown. Not many people really gather that. I mean, he's a punk rocker from Belfast, but the reality is that he's really influenced in Motown, and everything that he writes. Shadow of the War Machine is another. To me, I feel like it's just like a James Brown tune, but it's kind of punk rock. James Brown. He really has that funk element to him. He's really into Motown. He's really into all that stuff, and it was just really nice to explore different avenues. It's nothing on anybody else in the past records that we've done. This record's just more of a reflection of what the entire band was about at that moment, and as opposed to just a couple of writers or one or two guys in the band. And I think we all really felt very involved in this record, which is nice. Yeah, Chad Saliga also brought a lot into this record. Again, you never know when you don't record, if you've ever, because we've never recorded with Chad, although he joined the band in 17, in the middle of 17.
Right,
He had been in the band for the remainder of the Heavy Fire tour, and but we had not recorded anything with him. So you never know what you're going to get with those elements, and people were quite worried about us, I think. I mean, you never know. New producer, new guitar player, new drummer. I mean, it's a big test. And Scott, Ricky, and I went into it with the most positive and hopeful. I think we exceeded expectation and of our individual expectations. It was just really cool to see Chad blossom as a musician within our camp and add an amazing amount, whether it be parts or just Chad and I would get together every day before we went through the song, and we would talk about what we were going to play and different things. And Scott would sit there with us, and it was really cool. It was a really amazing experience. And again, it's not to say that we weren't as involved in the last record, but the last couple records, we weren't really that involved in the last records as much. And it's really cool to see the band. Where we're at right now is probably it's a really positive place.
Yeah, it's not like you've completely changed your sound or gone into a jazz odyssey or something like that.
No.
It's still very much Black Star Rider sound, but it's just a couple of steps forward.
Yeah,
it's a little bit heavier, a bit more variety on the album.
Yeah, Christian brings such that. Yeah, he's such a punk rocker to the bone. I mean, just getting to know him, he was I was a young kid that grew up in Hollywood, a street punk or whatever, and 15 years old, I was on my own. Christian, same thing, 16 years old on his own in New York, and all the way from Philadelphia. We lived a lot of parallel things in our lives, just in different ends of the U.S. And he's true blue, man. He's a real deal punk rocker, and it's cool. He brings such a great element, musicality to the band, an angst, melodic thing to him that it's not about him, and it doesn't overpower the band. It's quite literally complementing everything that Ricky writes, or he writes, or Scott writes, or I write, and it's really cool. Yeah.
Is this because Christian's still a member of Stone Sour? Is this a long-term plan, or is he sort of going to slot in for the next 2 to 3 years till Stone Sour?
I mean,
work up again.
In today's climate, musical climate for all musicians, to be solely committed to one thing is just not realistic. It's just not. It's it's quite stifling. I mean, there was a time when it's like, you got to be this and you got to believe this and that's it. I think that with the internet and the advent of social media and everything, the ability to coexist in different situations and to be able to just divide your time between the two is very real and very, very common nowadays. So we absolutely applaud the fact that he's in Stone Sour, and we appreciate that. And Black Star Riders takes time off a lot. As he goes out and does their thing, and like we just took however long off we just did now, and 16 we took off a whole year. So. By all means, we encourage Christian to do it. The understanding is that Christian is in Stone Sour and he's playing with Black Star Riders, and we applaud that. If he goes and does that, maybe Ricky and I go out and do Fighting Hearts again. Ricky Warwick's Fighting Hearts. So who knows? We just finished another Ricky Warwick record as well, right after, like back to back with the
because you opened for the Stiff Little Fingers here.
Yeah, that's right.
About 2 or 3 years.
2016. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So maybe we do that. Maybe Ricky does something else. Maybe they do Lizzie. Whatever. We just encourage each other to go out and
it keeps it fresh and stuff together. Cabin fever.
I don't think that I don't think it's healthy for anyone to put any sort of musical restraints on anybody. I mean, it makes people want to go off and leave and go do their own thing.
So when was the first time you all played live in front of a crowd together with a new lineup?
It was Bristol.
Just a few days ago?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's the first time we ever played with Christian live. And, the first times we ever, like I said, played together was in pre-production for the record and then recording the record. And then we all went about our way, you know what I mean? And we all went off and did other things. They went and did some Lizzie days out and did some other stuff in the summer. Chad was out doing stuff. Christian was out doing his thing. And then we got back together in London, at the beginning of the month, and we rehearsed for a couple of days, and off we went.
A couple of days. Yeah. Did that give that little bit of a nervous edge on the first show?
Yeah, I think, but I think that nervous excitement is what kind of it harnesses that. You harness that energy, and you just plow through it. We've been very fortunate in that the four of us have been a band, and that's the one thing that everyone focused on and rallied around is that Chad, Scott, Ricky, and I have done 100 shows together already, and we were adding one element. And granted, it was a major element, and but Christian and Scott, they work so well together. Seeing their energy and chemistry together is pretty awesome. Christian he's a musical. He's just so invested in music, and he's a huge Lizzie fan. So he gets Scott, and him and Scott get on awesome. I think on the record, more importantly, I think that comes off is one of the most important things that comes off is that there's all of these connections going on, which I truly didn't believe. I mean, I didn't realize would happen until after I started listening to the record or the mixes as they would come in, where Chad and I had never recorded together. And to be honest with you, when Chad joined the band, it was kind of hard for me because we come from totally different genres of music to connect musically. It took us a while. Yeah. And so Chad and I connected musically. I think that comes off on the record, in my opinion. And Christian and Scott, man, they just gel. And as a group, we all just rallied together. And I think that it comes off live. And Scott, people keep telling me, Scott's this old, and I'm like, I don't see Scott in that. He reminds me sometimes. Like, I don't see you that way, buddy. I just see you as one of us. And he's musically just on top of his game right now, and him and Christian just will really work well off each other, and so it's just great to see Scott and the whole band working together so well, and it's coming off on the shows. People say, "Oh, you guys look so happy," and there's so much energy on stage. I just think that it's just a collective joy to be together, and for some reason, this synergy and this chemistry that we have somehow gained. I was saying this in another interview, and it's no disrespect to any of the other guys that have been in the band, because we love them and they're our friends and brothers, but and they help build what this is today. Marco, Damon, and Ricky, and Jimmy. But this band has this uncanny energy and chemistry now that I thought we had before, and for some reason it just seems to be like. It's a weird feeling. I've been in bands that had good chemistry, but this band really has good chemistry. So
I woke up sad. The sun was shining, the coffee and lightning, the birds were singing.
The tour ends in March in Manchester, 27th of October. Might end in March. So where do you head next? Are you over to Europe for some dates?
Oh no. Yeah. Well, in the UK part of it, we're out until the end of November. So you off to Europe and Scandinavia and in Southern Europe, and we're going, man. It's exciting, and that's the other side of it is that we're in a better position to tour for more longevity of being out here, and we can cover more markets at this point with the structure of the way the band is right now, and so we're happy to be out here. It's a lot of work. We're doing six a week, and Ricky's a trooper, and it's the weather, and it's hard on us, but it's something that we love to do, and not one complaint from anybody. Everyone's just like excited to be out here. It's like a bunch of kids on a frat, on a frat party, and it's really nice to see the band just firing really well, and it's really good.
Well, very much looking forward to it. So,
thank you so much.
So I take you to be home for Christmas, and then back out in the new year?
Yeah, so like with I don't know, most bands, I know how we roll. We try to plan out as far as we can, year and a half out in advance, because you have to. And so our goal right now is we come home for the holidays, like you just said, enjoy our families, get some relaxing time, and the minute you get home, you're like, I wish I was on the bus. And then when you're out here, you're like, I miss my band. But so the idea is that we're hoping to pick up some American dates in the spring, and touch the American market a bit. It's been very good to us as of late.
Didn't you do? Was it Judas Priest and Saxon?
Yes. So we were lucky enough to do the Priest tour last year, which was some 40 odd dates, and man, what a great experience with Saxon and Priest, and they treated us like gold, and we were able to properly play and introduce Black Star Riders to the American audience in proper venues, and Priest again, they were so good to us. They gave us all the lights and all the sound and the screens, and I mean we were like the headliner, and we really appreciated how they treated us.
It's nice when it's like that, when they feel no threats. They're confident in their own abilities, and you all get on.
And then you see Priest, and you're like, oh, that's why they're just brilliant. Yeah. They're just brilliant, and it was great to see Glenn out there doing some shows, and Ian's amazing, and Scott and everybody. It's just a really great camp, and they treated us really well. And the Saxon guys, Biff, God bless him. You know what I mean? Prayers go out to Biff right now. Thankfully, he's recovering.
Yes.
And they were all just wonderful for us and to us. And that tour really did a lot for us in the U.S.
Yeah.
And we're thinking on the tail end of that it's what's caused this little bit of a ripple effect with the new record and that tour, that it did introduce us a little bit more to the U.S. market. So we're hoping to do some dates in the spring, and then from there, back over here for festivals and whatnot, and then there's some other stuff cooking for the fall of next year. Right. Yeah. But it's all as you would imagine.
It's all revealed.
Sure. And it's but our managers and our agent, Keith and Adam, they just do such a good job for us, and they've done an amazing job at keeping things moving forward and very positive, and we're just very lucky to have a great. That's the other thing is that we have such a great foundation as a company and as a band, with Siren Management and with Keith at APA. They've done such a good job of just keeping us grounded. And so when somebody opts to move on, or we move on from somebody, or something happens like that, we're solid. We are a forward moving entity, and our goal is always to be and do what's best for the band, and for the individual that wants to leave. When Jimmy left, we were happy for Jimmy.
Yeah.
And the best thing that happened for us, and no slack on Jimmy, is Chad coming in. Yeah. Chad's one of the greatest, most honest, personable, positive individuals I've ever met. He's probably one of the nicest people and best heart people I've ever met. He's one of the most talented drummers, and I really feel like I gained a great friend. And Jimmy was cool and he was great, but Chad was a massive missing piece in this thing, and Christian is the same, and Damon and I, we just talked before I left. I love Damon. Christian's brought a great energy to the band, and it's just nice. It's great. It's been really good. So we're in a good position.
More than the kids. Love is the only thing in this world.
And what about you? Do you have any plans to do anything outside of Black Star Riders?
Oh no, I do stuff. I mean, I do a lot more under the radar stuff that I don't advertise or whatnot. That whether it be subbing for, I do sub for a lot of bands, and the bass player is like maid's mine or something. And I did some shows with Warrant this summer. Jerry was made of mine since I was 15. And he needed some time off, so I was happy to So I was honored that they called me. So I've been friends with those guys since I was a little kid, and I do stuff like that. But for the most part, when I'm home home. I just want to be with my family. You know what I mean? And a year off, great. You know what I mean? I'm happy. A week off, I'm happy to get the time that I get. We were just talking about our kids prior to this, and so I'm thankful for that. And I'm in I front loaded my career to where I worked really hard for a long time and did fairly well for a long time, and so I'm in the position now where I can enjoy what I do and not have to put the pressure of earning on my career, and I'm just thankful for when I'm able to play. You get, and we were saying this earlier, it's rock and roll to the bone when you're teens and 20s and 30s, and then your 40s, you're like, hey, I got to plan a little bit more. And in your 50s, it's work, and but we're in such a good position, and we feel so fortunate. And how can I feel any other way when I see Scott Gorham out here doing it with me? You know what I mean? And he is spry, and he's ahead of all of us. So it's just great to see. Doing the in-stores, we've been doing tons of in-stores, and that's been a great experience, just as a band, and it's been good. It's been really good. Yeah.
So it's all going right at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Robbie, it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Best luck with the show in Newcastle tonight. The rest of the tune, we'll catch you.
Yeah, next time. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks so much.
Cool.